Good day, YouTube world. I'm your friend and your brother, Reza. We have a new series today, and that series is called 5 and 5, where we figuratively scratch the surface on different vehicles, trying to figure out whether or not you should buy them or not. So in 5 and 5, we explore 5 different variables that help you determine whether or not you should buy a car. Number 1 is origin of the vehicle. Number 2 is cost. Number 3 is drivability. Number 4 is reliability. And number 5 is overall curb appeal. And today's vehicle is a good one. We have a Bentley Continental GT. The Bentley Continental GT was originally released in 2003. It was manufactured and designed in Crewe, England, a little small place that a lot of people don't know about. The Bentley Continental marks the beginning of the partnership between Volkswagen and Bentley Motor Cars to produce vehicles. Now, this vehicle behind us was the first mass-produced Bentley ever in the history of Bentley Motors. That being said, it shares a lot of components with Volkswagen parts. The layout of the Bentley Continental GT is kind of like a 2-door 4-seater, similar to like a Carrera or something of that nature. But the 2 rear seats, I mean, you really wouldn't use them for anything. The engine that you get with the Bentley Continental GT is anything you want, as long as it's a W12 twin turbo. All right, so everyone wants to know, how much does this car cost? Well, originally, when this car was released, the first Bentley Continental that sold in the United States sold for $400,000. Yes, $400,000 at auction. Now, soon thereafter, all the other ones that went for sale on the private market sold it for about $200K. And thanks to depreciation, nowadays on the street, you can get one of these cars in the high 30s to 80s, 90s. It just depends on what year, make, and model you really want. So, outside of initial purchase costs, how much is it going to cost you to keep and maintain this vehicle and keep it on the road? Well, it depends on who you talk to. I did a lot of research and I read a lot on 6Speed and other online forums, and different owners had different perceptions on the cost of running their Bentley, and a lot of that had to do with their the value of the car to themselves. I saw some guys who spend about $5,000 a year to keep their Bentleys running, and I saw another guy that said he spent on average $20,000 a year to keep his Bentley running. This car can be a maintenance hog. So unless you're ready to spend some real bread to keep this car on the road, you might want to steer clear of it. Reliability. It seems that as long as you're willing to pay the cost to keep this car on the road, this car will keep rolling. There are no ticking time bomb issues like an IMS bearing that you would need to worry about. The engine and drivetrain on these vehicles tend to be very strong and very reliable as long as you're willing to do your due diligence and get your service done on a timely basis. Just be ready to drop a few grand when the suspension components go out. These suspensions on these cars are notorious for going out, and they can cost $2,000 to $3,000 to repair if that does happen. And you can also have other sensor issues that can cost a couple of grand to have repaired, even at an indie shop. But that type of stuff is typical for any type of luxury vehicle. Even on my G-Wagon over there, sensors like, $200. So, So that brings us to the most important factor in buying a vehicle, drivability. And right here we have the keys to this Bentley Continental GT. So let's go for a spin. So, drivability of this Bentley Continental. What is it like to drive one of these around? Well, let me tell you first and foremost, the doors are very heavy. Like, it's almost like, it's heavier than a G-Wagon door, and I did not expect that. I expected the doors to be a lot lighter for some reason, but that was the first thing that really caught me off guard. It's smooth to drive, it's very quiet, steering is very light, which I kind of expected. Everything that you touch and feel is very nice and very well appointed. It's not as fast as I thought it would be as far as like torque. It's not a torque monster. It's like, it's fast, but it's not like an AMG or something like that. So, pedal, the accelerator. It's very soft. It's not like a touchy pedal. You have to really put your foot down. Not like a G-Wagon though. You don't really put your foot down like that, but you have to put your foot down to get this car going. But once you get it going, it's pretty smooth. So the seats in this vehicle and the driving position overall is very comfortable. The steering is extremely light. Like you could literally take this thing like this and just really steer it with one finger. So that brings us to the last variable, curb appeal. Does this vehicle have curb appeal? And look at this thing. I would say yes, it has tons of curb appeal. When you look at these vehicles, they are beautiful from every angle. There's nothing ugly on this car. I mean, when you look at the grille, when you look at the hood, the lights, the attention to detail on this vehicle is, when you're used to driving something else, it's astonishing how much detail they put in these vehicles. So will you get noticed when you pull up somewhere in the Bentley Continental? Yes. So let's do a recap. The origin of the car, it has massive pedigree. That's a plus. Cost. The cost of running this car, unless you have really, really deep pockets, can get really expensive. So that's a negative. We'll take that point away. Reliability. Reliability is generally good as long as you can afford the cost of running this vehicle. Drivability of this vehicle is amazing. I mean, this car is like so easy to drive, and it's powerful, it sounds good, the seats are amazing, everything that you touch in the car is very nice. So it definitely gets a point. And number 4, curb appeal. Does this car get points for curb appeal? Absolutely. So 4 out of 5. I say if you can afford it, definitely do yourself a favor and buy yourself a Bentley Continental GT. But make sure you have about 5 to 20 grand extra a year to take care of it. Until next time, this is 5 on 5.